Hello again from Val de Seda, from our Quinta, more particularly from the Horta. It's been a week, I think, since we planted up, longer, the first 1.5 beds, and we planted them up with plugs. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before, that we bought from the marvellous market, Saturday market in Stramoj, which is about 45-minute drive away. Great place, but it's enabled us obviously to get some plants in and get the season going, which I was, as you can understand, really eager to do. So much has been going on in the week since, though, and not least we've had 3 days of rain. Today it's dry again, thankfully, so it enabled me to get some things done. But there are two things really, two lessons. One is that we were a bit too hasty. I didn't get the frame ready. Basically, I didn't have screws, I didn't have an electric screwdriver, I didn't have brackets to make this thing. But the frame enables us to pour compost in a much more efficient and effective way. And as you can see, the sides of the beds that have had a frame around them are much more vertical. Of course, they will collapse over time, but the idea there is that I can literally pour 2 barrows-ish of compost in and then tread it down, which is what I've done with this final frame, and I've just raked it over just to loosen it up at the top, and another 2 barrels of compost will go in on top of that loose, and then I'll just tamp that down with the back of the rake head, and then it'll all be raked down. There are little gaps where we've lifted the frame, flipped it over. Another, you can see it's not quite right there, and there's another one, and the remains of the one over there. So we'll repair that with a bucket of compost. So that's good for then not only increasing the volume of compost inside the beds, inside the frames, but it also firms the compost, certainly at the bottom, and it's better for rooting. The first 1.5 beds that were planted up were not made with a frame, and you can see the difference. So consequently, there's really not enough compost on the planted up beds. So I'll be putting buckets of compost on to beef up the volume, top dressing basically with more compost, just to bring it up to something more suitable, more effective. But the other beds have been done using the frame, and you can see the difference. There's at least 4 inches of depth of compost there, which is ideal. Of course, it will reduce over time. But the other lesson, the second lesson, is that we didn't have the wood chips and for the pathways, and we still don't have the wood chips. We've got a chipper ordered, which should be coming within the next week. The lesson is that do put your wood chips at the same time as you're putting your compost in, because not only does it stop the cardboard from being exposed and then wet, because tigers come along, from Welsh tigers come along and jump on the cardboard and poke pore holes in there, because it's fun, because obviously it gets wet, the sun goes on it, and it warps, it buckles and bubbles, and they think it's great. So I've got the problem then of having to go around repairing the holes, and that's not fun, it's very difficult. Anyway, lesson learned. That's the that's the lesson learned. Put your wood chips down at the same time, and do it with a frame. And then of course the wood chips right next to the almost vertical bed means that the side of the compost, the bed, is actually more stable with with the wood chips next to it. So there we go. It's been an eventful week. We've got all sorts going on, and it's turned sunny. There's rain again tomorrow apparently, which is okay. Plants certainly have enjoyed the rain the last few days. They're beginning to perk up and show signs of new growth, and yeah, more to do. The idea now will be that we'll do blocks of 3 beds, roughly 10 meters long by yeah, each bed is roughly 90 centimeters with approximately 40 centimeters of pathway in between. So then the block will be separated by a meter of grass, and then again the block of 3 beds with wood chip pathways in between. So we'll probably do one adjacent and then start moving down that way. Got a greenhouse coming. A greenhouse is ordered, another polycarbonate affair, but it's a ready, well, it's a ready-made. Obviously I have to put it together, but I'm not building this one myself. I haven't got the resources, not yet anyway. And it'll go here somewhere. It's relatively flat by here, so I think by the end of this year we should have 3 blocks of 3 beds. I've got number 1, number 2 there, and then 2 more blocks adjacent, and I'm sure that's going to be okay for the first year. You know, you never know, we might get more done. It'll depend on how much cardboard we've got. We've certainly got the compost, there's no worries there. And as for wood chips, well, we've got an unlimited supply of eucalyptus, as I think I've mentioned before. But I noticed also that while I haven't got the chainsaw, we do have, well, I won't say an unlimited supply, but an awful lot of these. They look like bamboo, but they're not. It's a reed. I think it's called Arundo donax or something like that. And it's an invasive reed species, invasive in Portugal and Spain. And of course they die down over winter, and so all those stems, they're about 7-8 foot tall. They can get as tall as 10 foot or so. Well, they're hollow. Great stuff. I'll start chipping them. There's no danger of them rooting because they root from rhizomes in a damp area, so we know that it gets really nice and moist down there. So yeah, we'll start chipping them as soon as the wood chipper comes, and presto, and go up to the woods over yonder. You can see the trees on the horizon. Those are the top of the eucalyptus just there, and it's those that we've been offered an unlimited supply of to do with as we wish. So yay, onwards and upwards, spring's on the way.